the Roman Empire. A name that once echoed through time like thunder. An empire that stretched across continents, from the deserts of Africa to the cold forests of Britain. Its legions were feared, its culture admired, its power seemingly eternal. And yet, it fell. Not in one day, not even in one century, but slowly, painfully, like a giant collapsing under the weight of its own greatness. Imagine standing on a crumbling wall in the city of Rome, the air thick with smoke, the streets once filled with merchants and laughter now echo only with the sound of boots, barbarian boots, marching through the heart of an empire that once ruled the known world. How did it come to this? Some say it was greed, others corruption, but the truth is more complicated. It began long before the final sack of Rome. It began with small cracks, invisible at first, spreading quietly beneath the marble surface of glory. The empire had grown too vast, too rich, too comfortable. From Spain to Syria, millions lived under the eagle's standard of Rome. But managing such an empire required more than armies and gold. It required unity. And that unity began to fade. Senators grew rich while the poor starved in the shadows of temples and palaces. The legions, once loyal to Rome itself, began to serve their generals instead. Every commander with ambition dreamed of becoming emperor. And so civil wars erupted, brother against brother, soldier against soldier. Rome was bleeding itself dry, and while it fought its own battles, enemies at the borders waited patiently. The Goths, the Vandals, the Huns. Names that once meant little to the mighty empire would soon bring it to its knees. But let's go back to the heart of the empire, to the Senate, where once the great minds of the Republic debated laws and philosophy. By the time of the late empire, the Senate was a shadow of itself. The emperors no longer listened. Power was seized by those who could command the army, not those who could command respect. The Roman economy, once fueled by conquest, began to crumble as expansion slowed. No more new lands to conquer, no more new treasures to plunder. Taxes rose, trade faltered, inflation devoured the value of Roman coins until even the soldiers began to lose faith in their pay. And faith, that too began to shift. In the old days, Romans worshipped gods that symbolized power, Jupiter, Mars, Venus. But with time, the empire turned to a new faith, Christianity. It brought hope to the poor, unity to the desperate, but also division among those who clung to the old gods. The empire that once built temples for every god now struggled to agree on one. The emperors tried to hold it together. Some ruled with brilliance, others with cruelty. Constantine moved the capital east, founding a new Rome, Constantinople, far from the chaos of the West. It was beautiful, strong, rich. But the shift of power left the old city vulnerable, its heart slowly hollowing out. In the West, emperors rose and fell like waves against the shore, each weaker than the last. The barbarians were no longer just at the gates, they were inside, serving in the Roman army, settling in Roman lands, learning Roman ways, but never truly becoming Roman. And then came the year 410. The unimaginable happened. Rome, the eternal city, was sacked by Alaric and his Visigoths, the world trembled. How could the greatest city on earth fall to outsiders? But this was not the end, only the beginning of the end. People whispered that the gods had abandoned them, that the empire's soul had already died long before its body fell. In taverns and temples, they spoke of omens, comets, plagues, earthquakes. Perhaps the heavens themselves were judging Rome. But others knew that it was not the gods. It was Rome's own doing. Its arrogance, its unwillingness to change, its endless hunger for control. The roads that once connected the empire now carried invaders. The aqueducts dried, the cities emptied, art and knowledge withered as fear took root. And yet, even as the empire burned, its spirit refused to vanish completely. Because Rome was not just walls and emperors, it was ideas, law, language, dreams, and those would survive, hidden within the ruins, waiting for a new dawn. But for now the empire stood divided, east and west, one strong, one dying. The east would endure for another 1,000 years as Byzantium. The west would fade into history. Still, imagine being there in the twilight of the empire, the sky red with dust, the air filled with the scent of decay and memory. The last Roman soldiers staring into the horizon, knowing the world they fought for was slipping away. And yet, they held their ground, for honor, for Rome. Was it fate that doomed the empire, or the choices of men blinded by ambition? Was it the enemies at the borders, or the rot within? Perhaps it was all of these, perhaps none. The truth lies somewhere in the ruins, in the whispers of history, in the stones of the Colosseum and the faded ink of old scrolls. If you listen closely, you can still hear it, the heartbeat of a civilization that once ruled the world. But even as it crumbled, something new was being born. Out of chaos came kingdoms, out of ruins came faith, out of darkness came the seeds of the world we know today. The fall of Rome was not just an end, it was a transformation, a passing of the torch from one age to another. But that story, that awakening, that rebirth is just beginning. The age of chaos gave birth to a new world. The fire that had once burned in the heart of Rome now flickered in countless smaller flames, kingdoms rising from ruin, each claiming a piece of the fallen empire's light. In the hills of Italy, farmers rebuilt their homes from broken marble. Children played among toppled columns, unaware they walked upon the bones of history. The empire was gone, but its echo still shaped every life that followed. In the east, Constantinople stood proud, the last guardian of Rome's legacy. Its scholars studied the stars. Its emperors ruled with cunning and faith. They called themselves Romans still, holding tight to a past that the West had already turned to legend. And in the West, kings crowned themselves with iron, not gold. They forged new laws, mixing barbarian strength with Roman wisdom. Latin, the tongue of the Caesars, lived on, transformed, softened, becoming the languages of Europe. The dream of Rome survived not in empire, but in identity. And as centuries passed, the world changed again. Castles rose where legions once marched. Church bells replaced the call of Roman trumpets. The light of learning dimmed, then flickered back to life, brighter than before. Rome had fallen, but it had never truly died. Its spirit lived on in every system of law, in every cathedral's arch, in every dream of greatness that dared to reach beyond the horizon. For Rome was not just a city, it was an idea that men could build something eternal. And though its walls crumbled, the dream remained, passed from one generation to the next. In the end, the empire's fall was not an ending. It was a beginning. The beginning of everything that came after.